And we're back in series Edinburgh edition, an Emery production. We are here in Edinburgh, all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Today we are at Appleton Tower at the University of Edinburgh, and we're here to talk to Noah Seltzer, whose production Here Comes Almost is on stage. One clown's mission to solve the loneliness epidemic. Noah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I will say there's a lot of there's a whole lot to consider when there's 3,700 productions to choose from.
Okay.
Yes, there's a lot. I think it's 37. I
Okay.
could be very wrong. They're
Yeah.
like it's only 22 or something. I don't know. But we're always looking at, is the title sexy or is the
Mm,
graphic
mm,
pulling me in to like learn more? And then also you're out throughout the city promoting your own show
mhm.
with like a one-liner that hooks them
Yeah.
and thinking about all that. So there's a lot to factor in there. But our first show was at Zoo Playground. And so while we were there, I just said, let's look at what the options are here.
Yeah.
And we always ask our interviewees for recommendations. But your show stood out because of the dragon. And then when I read further, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
about loneliness.
Yeah.
This is a big deal now.
Mm.
There's a conversation in society about it's about everyone in general, but there's a focus now on the loneliness of men not being able to be honest with themselves and then others because of this sort of machismo
Mhm.
that kind of plays itself through society. And so I thought it'd be interesting to check out this piece to see how you're going to solve it
Uh-huh.
for us. But first, tell us about Noah.
Yeah. I am an artist from New York, but actually I'm moving to Philly in like 2 weeks. So like literally the day I get back the 30th and I move the 31st or the 1st. I'm starting school at Pig Iron for their MFA program. And should I look at you or the camera?
Either way, totally fine.
And yeah, I've been doing clown for 4 years, and the first workshop was with Christopher Bays, and that like really changed my life. I was in New York, sort of ended up doing it on a whim, and was really transformative and healing in different ways. And it was like there's something really deep here. And then continued to like study it for the past few years and do different acts and numbers around New York City, and then yeah, put together this piece. Yeah, that's a little short about me.
Yeah.
There's more to say, but I don't know.
No, this is good.
Yeah.
So the focus here is on loneliness, and why did you decide to tackle that in this piece?
Yeah, I'd say two things. One, just like, I think the clown itself is just like fundamentally really ambitious and like wants to like help others. I feel like either that's, spreading like humor and laughter and like fun or joy or like connection. And when I was developing this character, this clown, it just this like very, I don't know, kind of like sensitive, like little part of me was like, I want to like help people. I want to like help heal people in some way. Which I thought was like really sweet, like this really sweet part of me. And I was like, I wonder if I can build a show around this that like has this like same thrust of like sending love. Like I actually, one of the first iterations of it was this version where I'm like just trying to like send love to the audience by doing this and like really trying hard, but like it not really working,
Yeah.
which was fun. And then yeah, I did different acts around a similar theme of like sending love and like connection. And yeah, this theme of loneliness. I mean, I think in my own life, it's been a little bit of a like theme of like feeling a bit of an outsider at times and feeling lonely. And in New York, I feel like I've been in New York for 4 years. And I think like this year, I finally like really started to make deeper connections, but I think New York, especially in some ways, but like I think I changed a lot after college and didn't really have like a lot of friends who I stayed in touch with. So when I moved to New York, it was like I just felt there were like a long period of time where it was like felt kind of alone
Yeah.
in my life. Think of sometimes I'm a pretty like spiritual person, and sometimes like to think of my performances or art as like little rituals or like prayers. And also when I was making this like a year and a half ago, when the first ideas of that started, I was like, I wonder if I can make this like ritual of like for like more connection in my life and then like more connection in the people around me. So this idea came sort of from that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when when you're thinking about crafting a piece that is very much centering the audience, how do you do that in a vacuum? And how do you know that you are laying a foundation that's going to work for the audience before you get them in front of you?
Yeah, good question. I don't know, basically. It's really hard to make stuff on your own without an audience. So like a lot of the stuff I basically just tried out in front of audiences, or I also had two friends who were like kind of co-directors on the project who helped to be in the room with me and like it was like not necessarily directors in the sense of like really telling me what to do, but people to like give me feedback and see what happens, because it's really so much dependent on the people in the room and like how I'm playing with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would do different open mics and variety shows.
Yeah. It's kind of a joke in Philadelphia where if there is a show that does have some audience participation, there's this sort of disclaimer at the top
Yeah.
where we're like, there's a little audience participation, but you don't have, if you don't want to, you just cross your arms, or there's like a visual symbol so that people can decide to opt out. But I also think that when that disclaimer is in place, people are more open to engaging and participating. There's just something about like, we know this makes people nervous, but we're in this together. And so giving somebody the safety, it's kind of like if you're about to start a speech and you're just like, I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
And now you're not nervous anymore. You just let everybody know we're all on level playing field. So it is kind of interesting. And I would just assume that a fringe audience expects to engage with it in some way, because every single piece is trying to figure out if the audience is resonating. And there is some bit of every piece that sort of looks at the audience. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where the audience does engage with the work. So talk about the first production, the first performance here, and what your mindset was like and what the crowd was like.
Yeah. Maybe I'll actually start with my first performance in New York.
Yeah.
Because that was...
Actually, yes. When did you first perform this?
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about here.
Well, so the first full-length performance was in New York at Brooklyn Art House. And that was I had 80 people in the audience. And it was really, this was my first full-length piece. So it was like, kind of felt like a big milestone for me. But yeah, it was really a great performance. Like there were 80 people. So it was like, as you said, people have disclaimers. So just to context, they both came last night and I guess there were only 3 people in the audience.
3 people. And a very active stage manager.
Yeah. So interesting. Cause like when I had 80 people in the audience, it wasn't interactive with everyone, I mean, it's a very audience facing, it's clown, it's very audience facing. And it's interesting, even the medium of clown, it's difficult as one person because it's not like the clown is inherently not very narrative driven. A lot of the clown shows are just built on different games. So it like needs people to play with.
Yeah.
Or props, like you just need something to like play off of, kind of. Then I mean another kind of form of, I'm getting a little bit off topic, but is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay, like another form of like constructing a clown show is like taking a story or usually something all over it. Like I saw one on Don Quixote, or like they're like, we're gonna do this story of this, and then the clowns do it, and it's like the clown retelling the story, and that in itself becomes this relationship with a story.
Yeah.
Like I think the clown always needs to be in relation to something. So, but then there's like also clown shows that are just sort of games built on top of each other. I saw this great clown show here called Dog Funeral, and it like starts off with her dog dying, and like you learn that she ended up, I mean, if it's a true story, she like ended up being the cause of this dog's death because she left out like a chocolate cake, and it's almost like her way of grieving. So she has this show, and you kind of get a little bit in the beginning of the story and a little bit at the end of the story, but in between it's like she's just playing this character who's a little bit like deranged but in like the best way possible, and it's like super funny, but she's just like playing games with the audience. So that's to say that like being with an 80-person audience, being with a 3-person audience. I think my first show was maybe 6 people, and it was really different. It was really like, it worked really well in New York for some reason. Also, I'm learning just like the way like it shifts so much audience to audience. So the first show felt really off, I think. I also, took a few days to like get used to the space, get used to like doing this in a smaller room physically, but then also just like having like 5 to 12 people each night.
Yeah.
Because it became its own thing, and like audience participation, it's like hard. It is such an audience participation show, so it's difficult. But I also, when there's a bigger audience, I mean, when there's only 3 people, it's hard to not use everyone. It also felt a little bit like there's an intimacy of like, okay, we're just like here playing together. It like breaks down a little bit of like the wall, I think. I mean, the wall's already broken down, but a little bit more, which is cool and difficult at times, I think, for me. to like know how to. There's just less like energy you're playing with. It's just
Hmm.
like a little bit less like charged.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because everyone's coming from different areas. Like, from what I gather, Zoo Playground is not close to a bar, or there isn't a bar
Yeah,
inside.
right.
So, you don't have that where people have the liquid courage on their way in and they're sitting down and ready to have fun. And
Yeah,
like, I do feel like clowning, comedy, buffoonery, all of that works
yeah,
when the audience is lubricated.
yeah, 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 totally.
Because they know what they're getting into. Yeah, but I was also thinking yesterday when we saw the show, there was an artist here who posted on Instagram a video sitting in their venue on their stool with no one else there saying,
Hmm.
no one came to my show last night.
Yeah,
And I forget the other point in there, but it was just like, this is part of the performance too.
yeah,
The fact that you don't know who's coming and you're still geared up. You still did your prep work to make sure that you perform. And so that's what I was wondering. Like, if we weren't there, would you still run the show as rehearsal because you have the space? Or would you say, I'm just going to take a break here?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's dependent. I might have just taken a break because I'm like pretty far into the run now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I can take a break. I also had rehearsal earlier that day, had already rehearsed. So yeah, I think it depends on the day. But if I'm being honest, I probably would have just
Yeah.
seen a show that I've been wanting to see, something like that.
Yeah. I feel like there's always like a plan B
Yeah.
that you can sort of put together because there's probably a show starting in a half hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But so let's talk about the elements of the show.
Mm.
Your premise is that basically by the end of this, we'll feel less lonely. And you immediately jump out of the box engaging us. And so I think that sets the audience in a great way to say, okay, this is going to be one of those shows where the audience is going to contribute to our overall experience.
Hmm.
And that's great. And I was saying, the the neurodivergent brain of me would opt out of participating
Yeah.
in any of this, but would love to be in this space
Yeah.
with everything happening. But
Yeah.
like, in the moment, we're just kind of like, well, we're all in it,
Mm.
and so let's all be in it. And and so I like all the props that were in the show because we were just sort of feeding your performance as well. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
audiences do that too. It's especially in a space where you're just like, what's happening? What's going to happen next? All of that was before the explanation, the loneliness stats
Right.
and the attempt to change the mindset in the room.
Yeah.
So how do you were talking about the games that clowns play, and so how do you figure out which ones are the right ones to put into your show?
Mm.
And also, do you have some that in case one doesn't land, do you have like an alternate?
Not really. I mean, I have so when I was making the show, it's like I had a series of games and
Yeah.
like ideas, like just did a bunch of like free writing of like different things I could maybe do to make people feel less alone. And then from that, I like saw what worked, saw what I liked, and just like narrowed it down and tried things out. At this moment, there are variations to like how the show runs. And there were some things I didn't do last night because of what I felt in the room. Some things I do because I feel the room in certain ways.
Yeah.
But it's not like I have like a grab bag of exact games that I will like do or not do. Yeah, I think just choosing the games is like kind of a mixture of what I like and what I think works with the audience and which is
Yeah.
fun for both of us.
Yeah, and I also think that's how you just sort of go along with it because you put these together for a reason.
Yeah.
And so we want to ride it out and see where it ends.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of do you have favorite moments of the show? I know you're happy with the whole
Mm.
piece, but are there moments where you're like, I always love this part?
Huh. That's a good question. I like the. Do I like?
It's like all your darlings are inside going, pick me.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm like, which one do I choose? I like the like. I'll say the mirror game is fun, where I'm like kind of shooting people, and it like takes different forms each night. I'm forgetting who you were with. What's his
Our friend Callum.
Callum?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like he really liked the shooting, and that was really fun to do that. That's always fun for me when like something like catches that I don't necessarily expect, or some like it just is different each night. So like something will catch, and I'll just like keep on doing it
Yeah.
to like build that laughter, and that's really fun for me. Also, the voguing part when I do the death drop is really fun. I discovered that like a few days ago,
Yeah.
and I just like built it into the show.
It's fun because, of course, we're from the East Coast of the United States, so
Yeah,
we're fully consumed by the Jellicle Ball, and
yeah,
we're thinking that, and so we're as that part was happening, we're thinking of all this terminology,
Yeah.
Todrick Hall from RuPaul, Drag Race, and all that. That added to the fun. It's like,
Mm.
okay, shablam, shablam, sort of
Yeah.
playing into it because
Yeah.
you know that everyone's aware of a death drop for the most
Yeah.
part, but
Yeah.
like, where are they coming from with it? And
Mm.
if the space allows that comfort to respond to it, I think that adds to the element as well.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I always wonder because I'm like a onesie fan, so
Mhm.
I have a bunch of them in different themes. But I know like when you're wearing it and like for 5 minutes, you're a blazing furnace. You're
Oh,
standing
yeah.
outside in the winter.
Yeah.
I always want because some of these spaces just aren't well ventilated.
Right.
So how, as an artist, do you prepare for that?
Yeah, it's been hot. Last night was okay, but I mean, no matter what, I'm dripping by the end
Hmm.
of it. And it's become actually a bit less physical. Like, it's a super physical show, but like I think the first week when things were not working as well, like I added some like physical elements that just like the sort of hi-fi part, like I was
Hmm.
doing even more like jumping and all these things that I still add sometimes, but I sort of have realized I don't need it. Like it doesn't necessarily, sometimes it just feels like I'm trying to throw more at it because I'm like nervous or something. So that being said, last week there were a few days that were really hot. Like not hot for New York, but like really hot for Edinburgh. Like
Yeah,
I think it was maybe like 80 degrees or something. And
whatever that is in Celsius.
yeah, I don't know who's watching this. But it's like there's no air conditioning, and like
Mhm.
not only is there no air conditioning, we're in a small room. There are stage lights on.
Yeah.
It's a small theater, so like even everywhere is hot. So the whole thing is just baking in these like lights and the heat outside. So I definitely got it. Like really was, and it's like kind of like damn, like I don't know. It's like doesn't. It's like smelly. I don't. It's like not a great. And we have 15 minutes to cross over. So
Yeah.
last week it was like my onesie was just dripping. Yeah, and it's not. I have to wash it more than I thought I would.
It's just good for us to know. Like, we always can't wait for the end of the show to come. The artist comes out and we get to
Yeah,
congratulate them or talk about what resonates with us. But you need that moment because you're under those stage lights the whole
yeah,
time, even in a well ventilated space. The element of the performance requires like you can't just turn it off and meet people out in the lobby.
yeah,
So I always think it's crazy. Like when it's a large group of people, they can do that.
yeah,
But you do need to give a moment to transition out of this and then, come out and, receive the people who are waiting for you. But that's something to think about. If you want to wait for the artist, you got to give give them a second to breathe in a transition of any of these shows. So for this piece, not to rush it off of this stage, but like, what are you planning to do with this once you have,
mm,
the research of being here
right,
at Edinburgh
right.
Festival Fringe?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I would like to do it to do like a shorter run, like in the air, like in New York, Philly
Hmm.
area. Maybe bring it to fringes around there, and yeah, like definitely, I'll be in school, but I mean, I'll have nights and things. So would love to like have like shorter runs or
Can
even
I
long.
borrow your bar for an hour?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's cool. Like I have this show I can now like just do wherever.
Yeah.
I think the other idea is it'd be cool to turn into a kids show as
Hmm.
well. I think could work really well. Tweak some elements and like yeah, make because I used to be a preschool teacher and like have that background and taught preschool theater actually for a year.
Yeah.
So I think that could be really fun as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, the brightness of your costume,
Yeah.
allows this to be a fun family show. And it would be interesting to be in the audience with the family and
Mm.
they're engaging because, the humor that is caught at the kid level and the humor that's caught at the adult level
Yeah.
always makes for a nice balance
Yeah.
if you can zero in on both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the productions here comes almost. It's going to attempt to solve your loneliness or make you less lonely by the end of the show. If you're here, you can go to Zoo Playground to see that show and you can look for this poster. You'll see the dragon. Noah, thank you for taking the time to
Yeah.
chat and thank you for such an intimate performance yesterday.
Yeah. Thanks.
Really enjoyed it. And we're looking forward to you coming to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Be
Sweet.
there with all the pig iron folks who we love very much. But
Sure.
thanks for chatting with us. It was truly a pleasure.